Welcome to Hindsight Trading, where you can learn how to trade on the right side with confidence. Today is September 2nd, 2016, and we want to talk about a featured stock for today. But before we do so, let me direct your attention to the bottom of our website. And if you go to our disclaimer page, the section I want to highlight is this area right here. Basically, all it talks about is the fact that our products and services are provided solely for educational purposes. We are not licensed financial advisors, so please, before you make any trading or investment decisions, make sure you consult the advice of licensed financial providers or advisors. All right, so that being said, today what I want to talk about is a stock called MeetMe, M-E-E-T. All right, M-E-E-T is a ticker symbol. M-E-E-T-M-E Inc. is the name of the company. Now, don't ask me what they do or who they are or anything like that. Don't know what they do financially, fundamentally, nothing like that. All I'm doing is looking at the chart and seeing that this is a stock that is ready to go higher, and here are the reasons why. We used to be in this stock when it was rallying all the way up here. We got out when we had this big drop taking place right here, but something told us to just watch out for it and see whether it kind of would bounce back, and it's doing so right now. So what is it that we see on the chart that is telling us is ready to start going back higher? The first thing I want to highlight is this section right here, which is when you look back, even though everything we do is based on what to anticipate on the right, we use some information from the past to kind of tell us what's about to happen. And so I want to show you what information in the past is showing us what is about to happen right now. And that is when this market rallied, or this stock rallied up to this point right here before it had this major, setback, okay? If we were to put a line right there, let me do that again. We want a price level line, okay? And so what I'm going to do is put this line right here and extend this to the left so you can see that, right? So we have this. What happened was somewhere in the future it came back and it popped above that, and then it had a cluster of candlesticks before it really took off. So the next thing we want to do is in this area where it had this cluster of candlesticks right here, what we want to do is, put a box around that in a sense, okay? So what I'll do here is I'll draw a rectangle, and basically I'm looking at this high of this green candle right here, all right? And basically from the day that it broke out above this previous resistance line right here. So if we did something like that, it would look like this, okay, to the day that it broke out. So you can see from this green candle right here to this red candle right here, and then after that, the stock went out. So then the next thing I want to do is I want to duplicate this line, okay, and put it at the top of that box right there, because what that is telling us is that this was a major area that the stock rested in before it went higher, okay? It rested in this area before it went higher. When it does that, we call that a zone, a support zone, okay, or a resistance zone. But in this case, we will be looking at this as a support zone, and the only reason why we'll be looking at this as a support zone is because of where we are right now. So we use past information to give us some clues as to what's happening. And so here we are right now, and I'm looking at this and I say, well, this was a support zone, this whole area. So let me do this. I'm going to draw this whole area right here, this whole zone, okay? And going into the future, this zone will stay intact. So this whole orange area is now our support zone. And so what we see is the fact that when this stock started tanking for whatever reason it was, all right, it came right into that zone, took a break. See how it has a cluster of candlesticks again right here before it started telling us what direction it's going in. See, when he had this cluster of information right here, it broke out to the upside. That was telling us that it was ready to go higher. Now, in this case, it came right on top of that same zone and had a cluster, kind of taking its time, and then boom, now it's ready to start going higher, okay? So why did we choose this? Might look like it's in hindsight. In a sense, it is, but it's not, because this area where this cluster of candlesticks could have been that zone where it came to and then ran right back up. It could have been this area, okay? But the fact is that we look at clusters of candlesticks to kind of give us an idea of where potential reversal areas, okay? So we can look at this area as a potential reversal area. We can look at this area as a potential reversal area. We can look at any one of these in the past, but it helps us with our decisions going into the future, okay? So what we're seeing right now is the fact that it came down here, all right? And now it's ready to start going higher, okay? And so that's something that we are seeing, and we are saying this is a stock that is ready to go higher. If we look at this on a bigger time frame, okay, we can see the same thing where notice how like it came really close to this area right here, okay, and then it came down. Then it came close. So if I was to readjust this, just because we've seen this now on a bigger scale, if I was able to adjust this, we can now see that this zone then becomes even bigger, which is okay when we're looking at it based on a bigger time frame, okay? So this whole, oops, let's do this again. This whole area right here could be considered a huge zone, okay? A huge zone. If you can see that on the bigger time frame. See, unfortunately, sometimes people don't go into the bigger time frame to see what is actually taking place. So this whole area is a huge, a major support zone, okay? We can see that based on what it did right here. It couldn't get past it. It came here again, it couldn't get past it, and then this time around it broke through it. And then just so happens it comes right down over there, and now it seems like it's ready to go higher. So the bigger time frame is confirming this. The smaller time frame, like we said on the daily chart, is also doing that. So this is areas that we can see that this stock is ready to go higher. Now, we will be wrong if we see this start going down and it breaks through this big zone and comes down here. So the thing you have to watch out for is like, hey, how much risk tolerance do you have? Because I would say that if it should come down here and close below here, we have a major concern, because that means that it is no longer trying to go higher, but instead coming down. But you have to assess how much of a risk you're willing to take. But when we look at this, trading is all about minimizing our risk and looking for potential rewards. And so one other thing I want to point out is the fact that if we go to the bigger time frame, which is the weekly chart, okay, when it had this cluster of candles right here, if you look to see how much of a rally this stock tended to have once it breaks out of that rally, okay, you can see that to be about 182.92%. See that little box right there has 102 days, 16 bars, 182.92%. All right, so that means that in 16 bars, which is about 16 weeks, this stock rallied about 182%, okay? If you look over here where it started taking up after this cluster right here, if you look right there, it went as high as 133% in 12 bars, okay, in 12 weeks. So if we are looking at that and say, well, that's what it typically does when it's ready to bounce off of a huge, support area, now we can anticipate that if it does, we're looking at, oops, and we actually ran out of room. So this stock could possibly go, let's bring this down, okay. If we go about 100, let's just go 120%, okay. We're looking at a stock that could possibly go all the way up to like, $11, okay, over the next, 20 weeks, which would be about the next 4 months. So between now and the end of December, we can probably see this stock be all the way up at $11, okay. And so that is doubling your money on the stock, So again, as always, we like to tell people the chart tells you what to see. You just need to know how to read the charts. So remember to trade always on the right side with confidence.